Hi everyone and welcome back to VH Agates, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get the perfect cuts for your agates. Okay, so whether or not you've ever cut agates before, there is always decision making that you have to do. Today I've got 4 agates and they fall kind of into the categories that I always have when I decide how to cut the agates. There are 3 to 4 factors that I always look at. One of them is windows. The other one is the shape of the agate, for example. A third one is fractures, and possibly a fourth one, not very common, but if you know the type of agate, you can try to get tighter banding. Those factors is what we have. I always use clean agates, so try to get the dirt off them, and a small flashlight, and I'll show you why, because I use it for the fractures when I can. So I'm going to divide these into four agates, and I'll cut them separately. So the first one is a small but possibly mighty Malawi agate from Alimajo, and as you can see, this falls into the category of having a window. So that doesn't leave us with too many options for cutting. I'll zoom in for a bit. As you can see, we've got a very nice window. We've got red and we've got some yellow. So it leaves us with possibly only one cutting direction, which is the long way out through there. It makes sure that we have 2 good halves. We don't cut through the window. I always try to avoid windows. So if you have a window, make use of it. Don't cut through it. You'll ruin the drawing. You either get it inside or you won't. So here comes the flashlight tip. You can always check out the agates a little bit using a flashlight. I'll try the same for this one. For example, the flashlight gives you a bit of information. For this agate goes, I can see that the drawing with red and possibly yellow, it does run through for a little bit, but not too much. You can kind of see it stop at the back there. As you can imagine, my line for cutting is quite close to the window. If I cut it close to the window, I ensure that I keep the red and yellow. So let's cut this one. Okay, let's see if my decision was the right one. Oh, yes. Yeah, it was the right decision, all right. Holy moly, look at that. That is insane. That's an agate. That's why I love Malawi agates. Crazy. Yes, so 1 for 1. Let's continue. The second agate I have for today is one from Agate Creek in Australia, and this one falls under 2 categories. For one, we've got a window, and a fairly nice window over there. We've got some bands running through. I see some quartz over there as well. And the second one is the shape of the agate, because we want a nice and full face. Maybe you'll feel it coming. I'm going to go for a diagonal direction because I want a lot of face to polish. It can be either from this corner over here, or it can take the long way from there. My preference is the long face. But before I do that, obviously, I've got the flashlight again to see whether we've got fractures or not. Here we go. Okay, if I put the flashlight to it, it's not as if we see any fractures coming through. So it's a clean agate, and even at the top, I don't see any fractures that I have to deal with. So I can just go ahead with my plan, which is awesome. Okay, so it kind of got away from me. I don't think it was a full art fracture, so it wasn't all the way perfect there with cutting. It's just the end, a small chip, but it could still be a perfect agate. The start is right where I wanted it to be, right next to the window. So, are we going 2 for 2, or is it a dud? What? No, no. No way. Okay, wow. That is 2 for 2. Holy moly. That's insane. Look at that. That's insane. Okay, I've missed a small fracture. You can't see them all. The other side doesn't have that one. Oh yeah, it's very small there. But wow, what an agate. What an agate. I can't tell you how happy I'm with this one. You just don't cut them like this every day. Wow, wow. I think it's got some parallax in there as well. Yeah, you can see it move. You can see the shadows move between the lines here and there. It's a perfect parallax piece. Awesome colors. It's like lilac, light purple, and yellow. This piece is just insane. Wow. I really don't want to move on to the next one. This is 2 for 2. Wow. Let's see what the next one holds. The Botswana agate. Agate number 3 is one from Botswana. Now this one is a tad more difficult. When it comes to nodular agates, it's got these weird shapes, and you can clearly tell it's from all volcanic rock. It's a nice nodule. We do have a tiny window here. It does show a little bit of banding, if I'm correct. There it is. And we can see a tiny fracture there. So that's an area I am going to try to avoid. Then we've got other choices to make as well. For example, cutting direction, and are there any fractures? So let's check for fractures. Okay, so we've got the light again. And straight away at the top, there it is, right on top of my thumb. You can see it running. There is a small fracture. Now you can try to avoid them. I always try to avoid them. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get a perfect agate if you avoid it, but it increases your odds for a perfect agate without fractures. So apart from that, I think we might be in the clear. You never know for sure. You can't check everything. So in the middle of the lump, there's the fracture. As for the cutting line, I should go next to it, and that leaves me with cutting next to the window from here, left of the fracture. That would be a choice. If I were to put it sideways and I take this part and I cut it all the way through, it might have a bit of a bigger face because it's thicker there, but I would go straight through that fracture. It might pay off, it might not. But for me, that would be the highest chance of a perfect agate. Okay, so I stayed well left of the fracture point down here. Now the big question, of course, is was I right with my line? I avoided the window there. Yeah, well, let's see. Yup. Awesome. So that is, wow. Botswanas, they don't disappoint, especially old stock ones. So the nice burgundy red and bright white lines in contrast is just amazing. And that fracture was somewhere around here, and I avoided it. So there we go. Very happy with that. I avoided a fracture, and I have what I believe is a perfect agate, a perfect face. All in all, it's a perfect piece. Let me turn it around this way. I look at those details. This is spectacular. No fractures. Amazing piece. The last one is a bit easier for decision making. This one is from Malawi, Morocco. And although you might think this is extremely fractured, I don't think it is. So that's another thing that you have to look at. If it's etched like this, it is probably from the host rock. So what we see here is not a fracture per se in the agate. See, it runs through here. It should have a big fracture in the face there as well, in the window. But still, to be sure, I'm going to pick a window that is, or a direction that is safe. I've got a very awesome window right here. I really hope these colors play out in the end as well. Some tight windows here, some color there. So I'm going to go behind the natural line, the thickest part of the agate, and it runs through there. And let's hope for a perfect fracture-free, amazing agate. Some of you might have noticed I didn't put the flashlight to this. I didn't do that because the husk is very thick. Not much light went through. I tried it beforehand, so it's all just about cutting now. So let's do it. Okay, so the big question is, does this drawing continue? Are we going to have 4 for 4? Because it might be the best cutting session ever. Let me adjust my mouth cap just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, I see some orange. Wow. Hell yeah. So the drawing does continue. The bands do continue. I think it's got some fractures here and there. You can never avoid all of them. You gotta love the Moroccan agates. The colors they have are just spectacular. Some green in there as well. Some calcite. And just amazing bubbly eyes, bubbly agate. That's great. That is awesome. I am super happy, super stoked with the 4 agates I cut. So, yeah, let's get back inside. I had an absolutely amazing time cutting these agates. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. And if you liked the video, possibly think about liking the video and maybe even subscribing to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.